This is Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Powered by Swiftex. Where can crypto take you?
Hi, it's Chris Titley here, and on today's episode of Scoreboard, the podcast, I'm joined in person by Tom Rockliff. Tom, thanks so much for coming into our studio.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Tom, we're sitting here on the 4th of March, 2026. How's your 2026 started?
A little bit up and down. I had a bit of a surgery, so from potentially an old footy injury, I got some neck surgery. I had to get some bone taken out, and so it's been a little bit slow. I had that done in January. So, a bit of a slow recovery there, but other than that, it's been pretty good. Couple of kids and stuff keep you busy.
And mate, neck surgery. So, how did that come about? What was the cause?
Yeah, well, not exactly sure. Probably something previously from footy that would have happened. But in November last year, I was playing golf with a mate. Sort of lost grip strength in my hand, and I was like, "Oh, I know what this is." And then the next 3 months, just had agony, so nerve pain all down my arm, and just this shooting pain consistently. And went on painkillers, had a couple of injections to try and fix it, but nothing seemed to work. And then fortunate enough to get into a specialist for him to have a look at it, and he said, "Look, it's pretty clear cut. You've got a bulging disc there that's sitting on the nerve. We'll go in there, snip it out, and then put a wedge in." So I probably underestimated the recovery of it. I thought most surgeries you walk in and out and away you go, but this one sort of knocked me around a little bit. Nothing over 2 kilos for the first couple of weeks I could lift, so 2 litres, couldn't lift it, 2 litre milk and stuff like that. So it has been a little bit slow, and then from there it's about 5 litres, 5 kilos, and then now it's just about sort of starting to progress and start to do a few things, which is a bit frustrating because I was enjoying getting out there and running most days and haven't been able to do that.
Mate, the microphone's pretty heavy. I'm sorry to put that on you. You okay holding it there?
Yeah, no, all good. All good to hold that one.
Yeah, and so you mentioned about your running. Is that something which is a bit of a ritual to you? And obviously not being able to do that, you get a little bit itchy?
Yeah, certainly. So when I used to play footy, I hated running. Loved footy training and stuff like that, but hated the running component of it. I was certainly a footballer first, athlete second. And for me, I found it when I was going through some challenging times in 2024, I discovered that, I got an element of joy out of getting out there, putting the headphones in and just pounding the pavement, not chasing any times or anything like that, but just, the exposure to being outdoors and running has been something that's been really good for my mind, first and foremost, and takes the edge off me somewhat. But, it's been a bit of a challenge the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks, not being able to.
Yeah, hopefully you can get back on it out there soon, mate. Rockliff Finance is kitted all over your hat and your shirt. What's Rockliff Finance?
Yeah, Rockliff Finance. So once I finished footy, it was sort of what was I going to do next, and I was down in Adelaide with the family and sort of looking for a media type career. And after speaking to a few guys down there, particularly around Triple M, it was sort of like, you could potentially do it, but it'll be a waiting game of 4 or 5 years or something to open up. And by chance, my ex-father-in-law, who's a ripper, he worked in demolition and had a finance broker, and sort of took the meeting out of respect to him more so than anything. But once I had the meeting, it was something that, I was a new industry completely for me, obviously the finance world and finance broking for businesses, and particularly more around equipment finance, and then sort of went down that path with his broker for a couple of years. He was based in Sydney. It just didn't really work out for me. Went through a bit of a challenge in 24 and decided that year that I'd start my own company. So started Rockliff Finance in October of 24. So we're sitting here March of 26. So, it's been a good transition and still growing. But something that I'm pretty passionate about, and the lifestyle it gives me now, a single dad, the ability to pick up the kids and sort of work from home is something that I enjoy.
How did you find the intricacies of finance and lending and brokers for something which you probably have, really no idea about, and now 18 months later you're starting to feel you hit your straps?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a transition. There's not too many people that can, or particularly sportsmen, that can just put the feet up and not work after sporting career. I mean, there's certainly some that have made a good quid out of it. But, for me, it was just being able to adapt and learn something new. So I'm not great on computers, so learning all that, learning new systems, we've got over 40 lenders sort of on the panel that I use. So I aggregate through a company called Connective. They've got all the lenders, and then you've got to do all that, and then it's just working out their policies. So there's all different policies. Obviously, you've got the major banks, and then there's second-tier lenders, third-tier lenders, and just depending on the client, making sure you're trying to fit them in the best solution you can. So every day is a challenge for finding the right sort of lender. But I've been lucky in the fact that I've had some contacts as well in that space. A guy by the name of Rory Hilton, who's an ex-Richmond player, ex-Brisbane and Richmond player. He grew up in Euroa. He actually is a real estate agent for car washes around Australia. So we're sort of partnered up somewhat as well. So I do a bit of finance for car washes as well, which has been good. And it's just about building that client base.
And mate, when it comes to the business side of things, are you a business goal setter? Do you have a business plan? Do you have a vision? Or is sort of like, let's just keep going, keep pushing forward one day at a time?
I'll probably a bit of both. I've certainly got goals and targets that I want to accomplish by certain time frames, whether that be deals per month or what that looks like. So it's always navigating and changing. So it gives you a goal to work towards. I think you've got to make that a challenge and just make sure that clients coming through. So from a business standpoint, it's always interesting, and you're trying to run it all yourself, learning on the fly. So what I've been doing brokering now for 3 or 4 years, and about 18 months by myself. So it's had different challenges along the way, but it's certainly you set yourself targets each month that you want to achieve, and by a time frame you might set that 12 months out and get after it and see where you land.
What's been the biggest challenge as a business owner?
I think particularly when you work for yourself and from home, you've just got to make sure that you stay motivated. And I'm probably lucky in the fact that what I used to do has given me those skills and the ability just to continue to front up when things don't go your way. I mean, again, it's probably the same thing with footy. You learn those lessons about winning and losing, and can't necessarily let them dictate your day. You've got to be able to, if you get a good result from a lender, you continue to push on, you get that done. If you get a bad result, you can't let you bog down. So you've got to continuously move forward and not lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing.
You mentioned winning there. Are you a competitive person, and where was winning, in your spectrum of world when you're playing footy and now as a business owner?
Yeah, I think it is. I think everyone's got that competitive instinct, particularly to play any professional sport or any sport at any decent level. So for me, it was always the thing. I mean, my time at Brisbane wasn't ideal. I don't know what my winning strike rate was, but I'd say it'd be about 30%, a little bit better at Port Adelaide. So played 2 finals games out of 208 games, which is not a great record. Would have loved to have played a lot more September action, but I mean, you always compete to win, and everything's built around that. So business is a little bit the same as well. When you come up against another broker, or you come up against a dealership or a lender direct, you're trying to give the best service you can, and that's been a big thing for me, is to continue on that path. And I've probably softened somewhat. I used to hate losing at everything, but I think once you get a bit older and you have kids and stuff, you start to accept that you may not win everything, and you just move forward.
Your relationship with footy per se, you mentioned you're with Triple M still, so you keep an eye on what's going on. But do you want to describe your relationship with AFL now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's still a good relationship. I enjoy going to watch. It can be frustrating at times with, I think, where the game sort of is shifting to, and there's some lopsided events or matches. I think the idea of expansion and continually expanding is not a good one. I think it dilutes the talent across the competition. So my ideal scenario would be to actually go back to 16 teams, but I really enjoy what I do now. As you said, I've got the Rockliff Finance, do that. Monday to Friday, I do a podcast with Neds, with Alistair Lynch, Jack and Ryan. We're in there, and that's a really good outlet on a Monday, sort of reviewing what the weekend was and some good topics there. And then Triple M as well. Spoke about on game day, so for the Queensland games, generally at the Gabba or down the Gold Coast. So that gives me a good thing as well. And then I do a little bit of coaching at school in Brisbane, Iona. So the open teams, I've coached there the last couple of years, so I'll wrap that up in a couple of weeks. But that's been good exposure as well. It sort of lit the fire in the belly a little bit in games last year. So we were able to win that competition last year and then go on and we finished third in the state, which they've never won anything in their AFL program. So it's a pretty good achievement. And Lee Harding, who used to be a coach at Brisbane, obviously played at North Melbourne as well. It's a credit to the work that he's done there. And I sort of tacked on at the back end, but it was a really good season last year.
The kids that you're coaching now, do you see a resemblance in you growing up, or is it a different generation and different interests?
It's certainly changed. But again, I grew up in country Victoria, so Queensland footy and Queensland younger guys coming through, it's very different. It's hard to get that balance, and for us at Iona, not everyone plays AFL footy, so we might have 10 guys that have never picked up footy before in our open team. So that was the most proud thing last year. We went on to finish third in the state when we had guys that had never played AFL. So when you grow up in a country town, it's around the principles and making sure that you're backing up at the back of groups and you work through the cones and stuff like that. They just don't have that here at school footy, and it's really challenging because you've got them on a Monday, Wednesday, and they play Friday nights. They're training for the guys that play AFL. They train at their club on a Tuesday, Thursday as well. So these guys are 15, 16, 17, 18. Some of them, you don't want to push them too hard because you don't want to break them down either. So it's about getting the balance right. But there's certainly guys there that have got talent and ambitions to play AFL footy, which I think is really good, and they're persistent with that. And hopefully, as the years go by, more kids from Iona end up on AFL list.
Now, I'm interested in specialisation. It's a topic that comes up quite a bit. Are you an advocate of people going all in at 15 or 16, or try and play as many sports as possible?
I'm probably a balance. I think probably around 15, 16, you probably need to know what you're going to do. But I would say from 6 to 15, play everything. And I certainly did that. When I was growing up, I played basketball and stuff like that, and it teaches you elements of how to use your body and different scenarios as well, around body manipulation and stuff like that. And I was always sort of a smaller kid, so I think that benefited me playing AFL, play cricket. Just you get exposed to as many things as you can, find out what you enjoy. And my young bloke at the moment, Jack, who's 8, he's right into soccer, doesn't really have any ambitions to play footy at all, which is completely fine. So I think as kids growing up, I think you've got to expose to everything. And if you do want to go professional, I think by 15, 16, you've probably got to be on that pathway of whatever that sport is, going all in there.
Your kids, would you like them to play footy?
I just want them to be happy and healthy, I think, is the most important thing. If they were good enough, of course, I think it's a good environment. And it's a great career path as well. You learn lessons out of it, but it really depends on what they want to do. So my oldest is sort of a deeper thinker and a more caring type, and the youngest, Huey, who's 4, he's more of a punch first and ask questions later type character. So. It's going to be whatever they want to do. I think Jack's got the brains, I would say more brains, and Hugh's more about outgoing and whack. It's funny that 2 kids can come from the same parents and be so different. So whatever they end up deciding, yes, I'd be proud for them to do whatever, but hopefully they excel in whatever career path they choose.
And what type of player were you in terms of you describe yourself as an AFL player? In between your 2 kids?
I'd be probably closer to my younger bloke. I was the youngest of 3 kids and always had a passion to play AFL footy. I wanted to either open the batting for Australia or play AFL footy for Richmond, and lucky enough to get an opportunity. I sort of had to scrap and fight to get on an AFL list, and then had to scrap and fight to get a game. And to be able to walk away with 200 odd games, yes, I would have loved the premiership. Yes, I would have loved more team success over the journey, but to be able to get out 200 AFL games, something I was pretty proud of as well. But I was just a scrapper. Realistically, sort of fought my way. I didn't have great talent in the fact of I'm not quick. I couldn't jump. Short little stumpy legs that got from A to B. Long torso, not super strong. There was no athletic real ability about me, but found a way to play AFL footy consistently.
If you look back at that, your superpower, why Tom Rockliff played 200 AFL games, what were the key reasons the how and the why, and was there some motivation there? Was there kind of something which you worked on during that career that elevated you beyond, to the All-Australian level, etc.?
Yeah, I think so. I think you would, anyone that probably knew me or played with me or watched enough, it'd be my brain, the ability to see things on the footy field, split second quicker than other people. That's probably what carried me. The dedication as well. I mean, as I said before, I broke my leg pretty badly when I was 16 and then had to recover from that. 17, 18, ended up missing a couple of drafts, got drafted in the rookie pre-season draft, to Brisbane. Played one game in my first year, clearly wasn't fit enough in that game, and went away to my off-season, so down to Benalla, which is 2 hours out of Melbourne, drove to Melbourne 3 times a week for a 6-week period to do boxing to get my fitness base to where I needed to get to. Ray Giles, which he coached a lot of people through the AFL sources, Joe Watson and other guys like that, and got my fitness levels to where they needed to be. And then it was just about, I knew I wanted to achieve it. You get 2 years realistically when you get drafted to try and play and get a new contract and build from there. And so I think grit and determination is one thing, but then also my biggest strength on a footy field was my brain.
Yeah, right. And then using that brain, the strategy, the chess pieces, etc., into business now, are you a bit of a deep thinker?
I would say I'm a composed thinker. Yeah, probably a deep thinker. Like, I put on a persona that I'm probably not. But yeah, I certainly have stresses and stuff that I can probably overthink at times. But I feel like I've got a really good balance at the moment. Life-wise, probably the happiest I've ever been. Yeah, which, I mean, I'm probably not even happiness, more content with where life's at. It's been a journey that's certainly going through a messy divorce and things like that. You learn a fair bit about yourself and how resilient you can be. And then also it's about, for me, working with the purpose or having a purpose in life is really important, and it's how you structure that. So for me, I feel like the balance is right where it needs to be. Of course, we'd all love to have $1 million in the bank and be sitting on yachts and stuff like that, but realistically, it doesn't happen. Like to spend more time on the golf course and stuff like that. But from a business point of view, you're always striving to achieve more. I'm a one-man band. I like to keep it that way, and the fact that I take responsibility. If something goes wrong, it's on me. I can't blame anyone else. So I think that works for me. I think I would struggle if I had staff under me, and people that I've spoken to in the industry have certainly said that. They say their revenue certainly increases, but the profit margin doesn't when you start to expand out and bring a team on, and you end up finding yourself working with them. So for me, there's probably no ambition to bring a bigger team on or anything like that. I like the personalised service that I can provide for my clients.
And you mentioned about being content and being happy. Were there periods of time where you felt, obviously you mentioned about a rocky divorce, that you weren't that happy? And what were the things or some sort of practices or habits, etc., to get you out of that rut?
I mean, once you finish footy, you lose somewhat of your purpose. You're told where to be every minute of every day. For me, it was for 13 years, and then you go to nothing. So I was trying to find that balance of what that looked like for me. Young family, young kids, just trying to find the balance of what works. As I said before, yeah, the marriage didn't quite go to plan, as a lot of them seem to do these days. Went down a different path. So, I mean, 2024 was probably my most challenging year. Marriage breakdown, extended period of time where I didn't see my kids. You're crying yourself to sleep and can't see a light at certain times, and how you work through that. And for me, I was lucky that I had a network of people around me, psychologists and stuff as well, to be able to work through that and come up with solutions. And I spoke before about finding running as one of it. So exercise, I was probably, particularly around the start of 2024, I was certainly overweight, not living a healthy lifestyle and different things like that. So for me, it was just finding that. I'd encourage everyone as well. A psychologist is a good thing. Everyone thinks you've got to go there, lay on the couch and tell them your problems, but they're really good for strategy-wise as well. I mean, everyone nowadays is at a gym working on their body, but they never work on their brain. And the most powerful thing, I think, in the body is the brain. And if you can somehow shift your mindset to dictate how your mind is functioning and operating. It can certainly change the outcomes of your day. And for me, it was just finding what worked. So from that point of view, I certainly started exercising more, tried to run every day. Then I journal at night. So I did the Resilience Project, which is a great thing. It's just answering a couple of questions at the end of the day from there. And then you've just got to find those things that work for you. And I mean, you speak about a purpose. My purpose now is to be the best father I can be, to show the boys the right way to do things. And it comes down, I think you've got to, for me, the 4 things that I really focus on, and it's probably more so the 4 R's, but one of them is principles, but rudiments is the word. Like it's what is your principles, what you stand by, what you walk past and stuff like that. So that's one. The routine, I think, is a really big one. I'm pretty structured in the way I do things, very, very much the same, whether I've got the kids or not. It's wake up at 5:30. If I've got the kids, we get them ready for school. I get all the stuff ready, pack their lunches and stuff like that. And then we're out, we go get a coffee, go to the playground, and you just set the day up from that point of view. If I'm not with them, I'll go for a run. When I'm fit and healthy and stuff like that, get the exercise in. I certainly notice the big difference if I've ran in the morning and I haven't ran in. You can certainly take the edge off.
The itchiness.
Yeah.
Like this morning I was telling you I missed my little gym session.
Little workout,
I had to have an extra coffee as a compensate, but it doesn't help.
Nah, it certainly doesn't. And it just takes that edge off for me. I find I react a lot better to things once I've taken that edge off. And then resilience as well. I think being able to work through certain things, and then also recognising where your mindset's at. So if you can shift that mindset as quick as you can, that's the most important thing. And I mean, the one thing that I really focus on, more so than anything, and I write it in a journal every night, is that to be the best version of myself. So if I can look at myself in the mirror and say that, like today I put every best foot forward. You're not going to win every day. You're not going to get that contract or settle that deal, that $1 million equipment finance deal or anything like that. But if you can be the best version of yourself, which you try and be, I mean, we're always going to make mistakes and different stuff like that. The other thing for me as well, I gave up alcohol, which has been an absolute game changer for me. I mean, growing up in the country, it was always about work hard, play hard. From 15, you start playing under 18s footy, you play away games, you jump on the bus, you have a couple of red bears or something on the way home, and it's just, that's the way it goes. And I probably played my footy a bit that way as well, play hard and then enjoy some beers after the game. And I thought I needed it at the time to be able to switch off from the pressures of AFL footy, knowing what I know now. Not drinking's been a massive change for me, and one that's probably kicked my life into a really good path. Just the ability, I feel like everything in my life's better because of it. I don't wake up a little bit slow. I react better to things. I'm fitter, I'm healthy. Everything on that front has been a good thing. And working with a psychologist on that as well, the commentary around that's really good. He speaks about, particularly around Australia, like from the day you're born to the day you die, everything's associated with drinking. So when you're born, your dad wets your head. When you turn 1, your mum has her first drink because she's been breastfeeding, and then from there, 18th, you have a good day at work, you have a beer. If you have a bad day, you have a beer. If you settle the deal, you have a beer. 18th, 21st, the whole way through, weddings, until the day you die. And what's everyone do when you die? They have a wake. So for me, it's been a big change, something that I'd probably never thought I would do, but so happy that I discovered it. And there's so much life than sitting in a pub for 8 hours and drinking. I can still go and hang out with mates there, and that's fine. But the good thing is, when I've had enough, I can jump in the car and go home.
That's I want to touch on this point, and you probably have spoken in a number of podcasts about it, but I'm in my mid-40s and have been drinking all my life since 18, and very much the people that know me will know that I enjoy a long lunch, and it's a good lunch when you ask for the dinner menu and all that sort of stuff, and it's I'm a social person, but the more I delve into this podcast series and had Todd Carney on recently, and what he did during his season of the Dally M, and Reece Walsh, I've heard this year or last year, gave up alcohol for the season during And I wrote a list actually of some of the things that happen when you have alcohol, which is pretty, obviously known, but you don't remember the short-term memory loss. Sometimes you send text messages and phone calls that you shouldn't have. You get tired, you eat rubbish, you cost you money, you're unproductive the next day. You ask for favours of people, you increase your weight. There's a whole lot of different negatives. And it's interesting that you kind of bring it up and there's a bit of a light bulb moment sometimes to say, right, should it just not exist in my life? But for 25 years, it's been the central point of fun and probably the central point of happiness. So it's kind of like this really interesting phase. I'm curious, my question is, how did you go about the idea of giving up alcohol and then the execution?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky in the fact that I had a mate who's a little bit older, was doing the same thing. He'd started probably 6 months before what I did. So I was able to go on the journey with him. But as you said, there's actually no benefit to drinking when it's all said and done. Like, what is the benefit of drinking? People can say, well, I have a better time, I have fun, but you can have fun without the grog as well. And I know that some people need it in a social setting. Well, they think they need it until they do it sober. And for me, it was just about, well, I was in such a bad mindset and, not being able to have access to certain things. And the kids at the time, I was like, I needed real mental clarity. It was more so that. And it was more so not forever at the time. I was sort of like 3 or 4 weeks, just get some clarity and away we go. And again, what I spoke about before, everything was associated with it. You would mow the lawns, I need a beer, or you go have a steak, I better have a red wine with steak, I'm going to Mexican, I need to have a Corona, and stuff like that. So you associated a lot of things with alcohol.
A corporate box of the footy, for instance. Yeah. It's free,
Well, yeah, I'm cooking the barbecue, I need a beer, or the footy's on, I better have a beer. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of people this weekend that go, AFL's back, I better grab a box of beer to watch at home and stuff like that. So and it's about building those habits, what I said before, your routine and your habits. Once you've broken it, it's easy enough. After that time, it was fine. Like, I'm probably lucky in the fact that I am somewhat social in that I can sit in settings and hold conversations and don't mind that. But for me, once I didn't miss it. Like, there was nothing that was bringing me back to go, gee, I need to have a beer or something like that. I was more attentive. Things came to me a lot quicker. A lot more energy. I wasn't waking up sloppy. And then I'm sure every dad out there has been hungover and had the kids thrown on them, and you're just not yourself and you snap at them, and it's not fair.
Snappy was in my thing, snappy in the morning. Yeah.
So there's so many benefits to not doing it. Once you break that mold, I think there's a whole wide world out there that you can expose. And for me, as I said before, working with Paul Mills, who went through the same thing, or he gave up just before me. I see him somewhat as a mentor, but he would hate that. But there is no benefit to it. Until someone can give me a benefit to drinking, then away we go.
No, that's fascinating. And how do you, every now and then you miss it, or do you have a time where you may have had a relapse? Like Todd Carney admitted that he was supposed to be sober, then he had a relapse, and it was okay because you're accepting of that.
No, I haven't. Sometimes you're probably like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to have a beer or something like that, but not really. I haven't missed it. I haven't had a drink. Haven't had a thought of it. I enjoy having sparkling water and just going about my business. So, once you break that mold, and as I said, the first 3 or 4 weeks were tough to get through, but after that, away you go.
So thank you for opening up about that, and I know you've talked about it in the previous podcast, but it is a very, you look at kids and people in their 20s and 30s now, and they are maybe athletes enjoying alcohol. Like, do you have a message for them now, or not really, because everyone went through that period?
No, that's right. It's not for everyone either. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen if you don't drink? Like, the thing with it is, and it's probably when people are borderline addicted. Like, I wasn't addicted to drinking or anything like that, but when it's a part of your habit and it's who you associate yourself with, like, oh, I'm a drinker, I love a beer on a Friday night or something like that, it's a hard mold to break away from. Can be challenging, but it's all down to the individual. Unless that individual wants to give up gambling or give up alcohol or give up a certain thing, nothing in the world's going to stop them from doing it. Like, it's never going to be a partner. It's never going to be the kids. It's the individual. And until you look in the mirror and go, you know what, today is the day that I don't drink, or whatever it is in your life, it's up to the individual. And no one can say any magic words to make someone stop doing something.
And the catalyst for you in terms of your contentness and your happiness right now, that's been a bit of a central part of it all. What other things or daily habits that you do? You did touch on journaling as well.
Yeah, so journaling at night. I like to exercise in the morning, and then just having structure around what I do. So love to get up, go for a coffee down Manly, Wynnum waterfront. Generally go for a run, sit there, spend a whole lot of time at the boathouse, way too much time down there. But it's just about setting the habits up to set yourself up to succeed for the day, whatever that is. For me, exercise in the morning, as I said before, I feel like I function a lot better throughout the day once I've done that. Not being able to run at the moment has been a challenge. My purpose is, as I said before, to show my kids the right way to do things, and hopefully be able to set them up and enjoy life with them for many years to come.
What do you get excited about now?
Probably a combination of things. Like, it's been awesome to see the Brisbane Lions Footy Club do what they've done over the last 3-4 years, or probably even longer. Caught up with Danny Daly this morning, had a coffee, and it just, when he got to the footy club, so he got to the footy club in 2014, we were a horrendous organisation across the board, and there was some real dark times at the footy club from, say, 2011, 2012 up until 2017. There was challenges, but that brings me enjoyment to see what they've been able to do at the footy club. Hopefully Port Adelaide can bounce as well. I think they're thereabouts. So from a footy sense, that gives me enjoyment. Being able to coach is also giving me a kick over the last couple of years. That's something I really enjoy. Starting your own business and working towards something, that brings me kicks, and certainly doing deals. But the overarching number one thing, that the greatest job or gift I've been given in life is to be a dad. There's no doubting that. So to be Jack and Hugh's dad, they certainly give me purpose. They bring me so much joy. When they're with me, everything else stops. I love just seeing the smiles on their face and being able to do stuff with them. And as I said before, with what I do now, with work-wise, it's great that I can have the flexibility. If I was in an office 9 to 5, I couldn't have them as much as I do. I couldn't have those special moments. So the ability to pick up work and do work when they go to bed, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the fulfillment I get and the contentness is by having those two young men.
Yeah, absolutely. 24/7, 365. They're yours, and you can, I wouldn't say dictate, but you can certainly, they're sponges. So your behaviours and habits get picked up quite often by anything that you do and any actions. And as you said, it comes back to you. Have you got any dad tips out there for future dads?
Well, I mean, it's a game changer. It's the best thing you'll ever do. It certainly is that. You're learning on the job. There's no right or wrong. I think the biggest challenge as well, I think, for relationships is different parenting styles, right? Like, you have grown up in a very different household to what your partner has in most cases, and it's very different now in 2025, 26, where when I grew up, when my parents grew up, they all sort of married within the circles they were in. Now it could be complete random that you end up with. So I think there's challenges in that, but it's just about being patient and not wishing any days away, because each element of childhood and growth in those kids is awesome. So when they first born, they're relying on you, on their parents to survive, more so their mum, particularly early days. But after that, it's about teaching them the right way, and each stage is fantastic, from baby to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and they're changing all the time. Jack's 8 at the moment, Huey's 4, and they'll continue, and I just wouldn't wish away any days with them.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant advice for aspiring dads out now. Now, we have a few questions that we always ask our guests on Scoreboard, and we thank our sponsors, SwiftX and PocketSmith, for the opportunity to do this. And SwiftX is Australia's most trusted cryptocurrency platform, with over 1.5 million users that use SwiftX here in Australia and New Zealand as part of their Where Can Crypto campaign, we also run a little segment here called the SwiftX Bucket List, and that is the bucket list sporting event, Tom Rockliff, that you haven't attended live that you would love to attend.
I would love to go to Augusta, I think. The Masters.
Yeah. Rory McIlroy last year.
Yeah, I think like just the history of what that is. Lucky enough to be down in Adelaide for a couple of live golf events, which, I mean, if you're in Australia, you should go down there. They do it so well down there. But I think the traditional event of Augusta would be something pretty special to be at for the 4 days.
And Tom, we also have a partner in PocketSmith. PocketSmith is the personal finance app for the household CFO, the one keeping the budget in check, paying the bills and kicking goals. Over 80,000 Aussies use PocketSmith to track their spending, see their net worth and plan ahead. And as part of their partnership with Scoreboard, we ask our guests whether they budget or not. But I've got 2 questions. Do you budget for your business? And also, personally, do you budget?
Yeah, well, I've got it all there. That's something that I could improve at. I certainly don't budget and should, but yeah, I mean, you've got to keep account of what's coming in and out. Certainly money dries up from professional footy days.
PocketSmith is the app that you need to do for budgeting. We also have a question for you in regards to sport-loving fan, your favourite all-time sporting moment, something you can watch on YouTube 10,000 times, but it doesn't involve yourself.
The one that probably doesn't involve myself would be, I think Tiger's win when he came back, what he went through. So the ability for him to do that, I mean, growing up when I was a kid, he just won everything, and then he went through a really tough period in his life. But he found a way to get back and win. I think he's a pretty special sportsman.
Was that the one where the Nike logo?
No, that was earlier.
That was earlier.
Yeah. I mean, you could watch that 1,000 times well, but if you just Tiger Woods' highlights, probably every time he just dominated. He was an exceptional golfer that was dominated his sport. So I like to watch people that just dominate their sport.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the Scoreboard moment, it's a moment in your life that's so vivid and visible, and from that moment, life changed.
When I broke my leg down on the Gold Coast at the Under-16 National Carnival, that's probably the moment that sticks with me, because it was, I mean, life can go one or two ways there. You can either pack up shop and turn into a local bloke that, I could have made AFL footy if I had done this, and this, but chose a path of rehab and trying to get it right, and speak about drinking, like, and that culture. For that 12 months as an 18-year-old, I didn't drink and had the output. I was lucky enough to get on an AFL list. So I think being able to go through adversity and the mental resilience that you learn from that as a young fella has sort of stuck with me throughout life.
We're introducing a new segment here called Dear Scoreboard, and that is taking the seat of me and interviewing an Australian or maybe even a global sports person. I'm curious to know who you'd love to interview, being in the media and all. And what would you ask them?
Oh, I mean, if you got the opportunity, you'd love to speak to a guy like Michael Jordan or something like that. But I don't think we're probably going to get him on this podcast.
No.
So from an Australian standpoint, you can probably, I would say, a guy that went over and dominated his field for a period of time would be like an Andrew Bogut or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's local to Queensland.
I've asked Andrew, and he's politely declined. He's got his own podcast.
Yeah, right.
Which is fine.
I think like someone like that went on the world stage and achieved it is local. He's obviously a good story.
Yep.
Of where he's
Matthew Dellavedova as well.
Yeah, it was same thing, same principle, right? He went over there. And, I think someone like that's had the ability to go, like an Adam Scott or someone, Cam Smith even. So guys that are Queenslanders, for you that are local, you might get an opportunity to.
Yeah, no, that's a good. And what would you, if you sat down with Cam Smith or Jason Day or Adam Scott, what would you ask them?
Just how I think a lot of people don't appreciate how much they go through to get to where they want. So, like, I'd love to know what a typical week of a golfer looks like. I'm a hack that plays maybe once every 2 months, and it's always, I need to spend more time at the range and stuff like that. But for me to understand how much time they actually put in, and I would imagine they'd be hitting golf balls consistently and a lot, and then the gym work that they have to do and stuff like that as well. So it'd be more so around their structure and their routine throughout the week.
Do you reckon they have fun?
No, I don't think so. for me, particularly in the team environment, was the locker room and stuff like that. Like, so the change rooms after a hard session or after a game when you have a win at the moments that you remember, they certainly have a team around them, particularly Live Golf. They've got a team now, so maybe there is more that team element to it. But when it's an individual sport, that they move on so quickly, and particularly with golf, when you're in the championship and that, it's you play a tournament, then you're on to the next one, and away you go. So they probably don't have the time to slow down and have fun. I mean, there'd be enjoyment and stuff like that, but to say fun, probably not.
What about you? Did you have fun playing footy?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, the things that I miss is that competing, going out there with a mission with 22 of you or 21 of your teammates going out there to win games of footy and know what's put into it. So I miss the element of training, games, and the locker room. All the other stuff that goes with it, I certainly don't. There's so much work and little things that you do behind closed doors. We were speaking about weights before. I always hated doing weights as well. So all those little things, meetings, I have so many meetings now, so many reviews. There's a meeting for a meeting and computers and stuff like that. And that side of it, I don't. But yeah, there's certain elements that you miss.
Was there one teammate in particular that you missed the most having fun with?
I mean, when I was young, it was certainly Jack Redden. It was we lived together and we had a great time. And as he left and you grow, it was Pierce Hanley. And then when I got to Port Adelaide, Robbie Gray was someone that I got on really well with. We were probably lucky. Our oldest boys were a couple of months apart, so it was sort of very similar phase of life. But yeah, those three guys.
There you go. Now, one piece of advice for young 15, 16 will go that want to play AFL, that see all the spotlights and all the things that come with a professional footballer. What's your piece of advice to them?
Yeah, I think it's a quote that sort of stuck with me from a young age, that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is a little bit extra, which means if you want to get to where you want to get to, you're going to have to do extra work than just the standard and the basic. And I think there's guys out there that think it's just going to happen for them, and then they find their way into a system. They might find their way on a list and they get spat out pretty quickly because they're not willing to do that extra amount of work, particularly as a young guy. So it's always looking for those extra things that you can do, whether it be kick the footy with your brother or your sister or your mum and dad in the backyard, or just having your hands on a footy. Just all little elements, all the 1% that just continue to give you that opportunity.
Is there a message out there now for those fans about what the Lions are doing, and also maybe a message to them, say, former captain of the Brisbane Lions?
Yeah, well, as a former captain, just so proud of what they've been able to achieve. I think it brings joy to all those supporters, and that's what effectively you're doing at the end of the day. You're playing for them. And the one message I suppose I'd have for Lions fans is I think you've got the best list you've had in the last 4 years, and you've won the last 2 premierships. So enjoy it for what it is, and hopefully get another one.
Awesome. Tom Rockliff, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard, the podcast today. A few technical difficulties, but we're past that now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time coming in. All the best with Rockliff Finance. Check it out. We'll put some links in the show notes, etc. And congratulations on where you are in your headspace right now, and you've got a smile on your face and you look very happy. So thank you for coming in, and all the best, and looking forward to supporting where we can.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
This has been another episode of Scoreboard with Chris Titley. Go back and check out some of the other episodes you might have missed.